Hello everyone, I'm back with another video, and in today's video we have an Alienware laptop. This one is an Alienware 17R5. This one, a specific one, comes with an iCore 7 8th Gen and GTX 1060 with a 6 gig of storage on VRAM. And in this video I'm going to take you on a step-by-step how you can open it up and how you can clean up the fan, the air vents for the heatsink, and repaste your CPU and your GPU. If yours is iCore 7, iCore 9 or different generation, is the same thing. As long as it's an Alienware 17R5, they all pretty much are the same. I'm going to take you on a step-by-step how to open it and how to put it back together. And I'm going to leave the links for the tools that I use in the video description. Just remember, by doing any servicing, cleaning, you're not going to lose any information, or any extra configuration will be required at the end. Everything is going to be left the same way that you had it before you powered it off. But just remember, this is not a benchmark test. This is not a how to lower your temperature, stuff like that. This is just a routine, regular servicing that you're supposed to do once every year, year and a half, depending how often or how heavy you use your laptop for. I'm going to use one of the best thermal pastes in the market. You can use a different thermal paste, but I'll leave the link for the good thermal paste that I'll recommend you guys to do for this one. Alright, so let's go over the tools that I'll be using. I fixed screwdriver set. This is the basic set. You're going to use a Phillips #1. If you get the Pro set, they will give you an opening tool, some tweezers. If not, grab yourself a guitar pick. Metallic guitar picks are suitable to opening cases and covers. Curved tweezers or straight tweezers. Plastic or wooden spatula. And then you will need 1 or 2 sheets of the workshop towel. The reason I say always use the workshop towel, I'll let you know right now. For the next one, we're going to be using isopropylic or isopropylic 98% plus alcohol. The reason for the towel is, for workshop towel, is as soon as you want to clean the components on the CPU, GPU, and you put an alcohol on the towel you want to clean, this can get ripped apart really easy with no force required, and will prevent damage on the tiny components on the motherboard. But if you use a microfiber towel, those can get tangled on the tiny capacitors and can rip and damage your motherboard. So invest and just buy this cheap workshop towel. You can use it for cleaning your laptop or your screen later on. So that's useful to have. And now regarding the thermal paste, you can use different thermal paste. I'll be using a Thermal Grizzly Extreme. These are really good. Closest to the liquid metal are these ones. I really highly recommend them. Or you can go with a cheaper version, and would be Arctic MX4 or MX6. MX6 are the new one came out. They're really good too. So you can use whichever you prefer. Right. And use our new toothbrush to clean the air vents. And if I miss anything else, I'll let you guys know in a second. Alright, so let's get into it. First, you want to power off. You want to flip it upside down. Down here, we're going to see a whole series of screws, 3 on the right side and 3 on the left side, and 1 single at the back. You don't want to touch the back mid. You want to remove all the screws on the sides, and then I'll let you know about them in the mid back. The screws are the same size and height, so don't worry about mismatching them. Just remove them and keep them in one pile. So let's go ahead and remove them. Now, the screw in the back mid, this one has a little something called a C-lock. A C-lock will prevent the screw from coming out entirely. So as soon as you start rotating, you're going to see a tiny gap opening between the cover. So keep rotating until it just really loosen up. Then you want to grab the opening tool and you want to stick it right in on the gap. And you want to just twist it, and you want to hear big click sounds. Those click sounds you want to hear, you want to go on the right side. You see those big nice click sounds? You want to do the same thing, go on the left side, left and not right side. You're not breaking anything, you're just loosening up the clips. Now you want to put it down, grab from the side corner back, wiggle around. If it's screw not coming out, just do a little more twist, and it will release it. Bring it up, pull it towards the back so you can release the front end clips. Right, you can take it outside, use a toothbrush to clean up the dust mesh in here. If yours is dusty, And down here right away we can see the two fan and the heat pipes right in here, but we don't have access to remove the heatsink because we need to remove the shield on the bottom. Before we do that, we need to remove the back grill. To remove the back grill, there is two screws that hold it. They are right by the power jack and one right on the other side. Remove these screws. These are the half the size of the bottom cover screws. So keep them in a different pile. Once you remove this one, now what you want to do here is to put this opening tool right here between this, stick it there and just put it one clip and two clips down there. You want to loosen up this clip, lift it up a little bit and leave it there. And then you want to grab it from here with your thumb and you want to slide this one with the force towards you can see it's loosened up right now. See, same thing on this side. Put that one there and use your thumb to slide it back. And then evenly bring it out. So there's the back grill. Then I want to scratch the top. I'll put the down here. First thing first, we want to remove the Wi-Fi board. So remove one screw right under this cover, the Wi-Fi screw. Put it to one side. We want to remove this plastic, slide this plastic out. Oops, it just went flying. And then you just want to pull this Wi-Fi card out. Disconnect the cable, just pretty much pops out. You want to remove any SSD that you have upgraded, remove them by removing one screw and bring it down in 45-degree angle, pull it back. Put the screw right beside the SSD so you don't lose them. Next, we want to disconnect the mechanical or SSD storage you have by removing this, pulling this tab upward. Grab it and just bring it up. Just pull it towards the ceiling. You see this tab right here? Just grab it and pull it up. And leave it there. Next, you want to disconnect this cable right in here. Just pull it up gently. Bring it up. These are tiny cables. These are for side LEDs. And pull this one right there. Once you're done with those, you want to disconnect the battery by pulling this flip thing towards the front of the laptop. And it will disconnect the battery. You want to remove 3 screws at the back. Yeah. So all the screws on the bottom cover, they're the same too. So remove them. I'm going to put a magnet beside my screw. Remove all the screws in here on the back. Now we need to remove every screw that it says M2. Every screw that is an M2, one right in here too. I'm not gonna fast forward so you guys know where I'm removing all the screws. So I remove the 3 in the back, and you want to remove the corner back in here. These are the chrome one. These are tiny one. So I'll leave this one to one side. Remove the left side and the right side in the back. All right. So put those one inside. Now we can continue by removing M2s. So remove the one right by the fan. One right by the fan again. One right here. One right by the battery connector. We do want to remove the one in the corner in here, the chrome one by the hard drive. Remove that one. I'll leave it beside the chrome ones in there. So you do want to remove this one. You don't remove any of the 3 ones. Remove the one right in the front. Mid, 2 of them are in the mid. One right by the SSD. One by the speaker right here on the left side. By the fan. One right beside the Wi-Fi that you remove. And that should be all. There's no more. So in total, let me see how many I removed. I don't know if I should even count it. Let me see. I'm going to count them. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 screws. So there should be a 14 black screws removed from the bottom cover. Once you remove those, you can see from top here, I can just lift it up. I'll bring it to my finger right through here. I'm not pulling it too much. So what do we want to do in here? It's grab the bottom, the opening tool. You want to stick it right by the grill right there. And then just want to lift it up and you make a tiny click sound. Slide it outward. Okay? And bring it here. Work yourself. You want to hear those nice click sounds. Go towards the front. Run it across. Same thing on the other side. Lift up this LED thingy upward and the opening tool all across, and it should release the bottom cover. Now we can just lift it up gently because this Wi-Fi cable has to come out. Bring it up, and that's it. You'll be left with a hard drive right in here. We don't want to remove the screw to remove it, just put it to one side. Alright, down here we can see we have access to the fans, to the heatsink, and ready to go. First we need to remove 2 screws for the fan on the right side. One screw right in here. You can see this is for the fan in here. And we want to remove 2 screws for the fan on the left side. Now, the only issue I have with this laptop is that they put the fan connector on the other side of the motherboard. If they had to put those fan connector on this side, we wouldn't have to remove the entire motherboard to get to those fan connectors. So that really pisses me off. I do not know why they do that. They could have just left a connector right in here like any regular laptop, but they don't. So once we remove these 2, we need to remove 3 for the CPU and 4 screws for the GPU. So go ahead and remove these tiny screws. They're really tiny screws, like M.2 screws. Once you remove this M.2 screw, I'll leave it beside the fan screws. Now you can see I can try to remove this one up, lift it up, really toughen up, but I will not be able to lift it anymore because of the connector for the fan that they go on the other side of the motherboard, which is really ridiculous. Now to get to those, I need to remove first the bracket for the USB-C Thunderbolt. So remove this screw. I'll put this one to a different side. Now I will need to remove the screw on the motherboard right by M.2. Go all around. So you can grab a little Sharpie and mark it wherever you're removing the screw. So one right there, and one right here. And there is no more screws to remove. So those 3 screws. So that way you don't have to see, oh, where did I remove it? Even that they do have a little white arrow, so you can follow the white arrows. If you don't want to have a Sharpie, see these white arrows beside them. Right, so remove these 3 screws. Now we need to disconnect the cables for the keyboard and everything else. So lift up this jack upward a little bit, about 1 millimeter. Not too much, and then slide this connector back. So this white jack comes up about 1 millimeter, and then you can remove it. This one over here, you want to lift it up 90 degrees and then slide back the flex cable. This is the backlight, remove it. This is for the, whatever it is, for keyboard. Remove it. For the backlight for the keyboard, lift it up the connector and remove it. The speakers, put your fingers on the side of this jack and bring it back. So I'm going to put a different angle so you see these connectors I'm talking about. These connectors, they just get pushed down towards the board, and then you bring it up about 0.5 millimeter, and then you can just remove this flex cable. Don't pull the flex cable without loosening it up. You put the flex cable and then you push this jack down. It will just pinch the cable in its place. Make sure this cable is going straight, right? So once we have those ones done, we need to disconnect the power cable right in here. Just leave it like that. Now we need to remove this bridge cable. To remove the bridge cable, you need to lift up this tape a little bit. And there's a tiny hook in here. This hook has to come up, and then slide this connector backward, and that's it. Remove this tape over. there's an adhesive on this battery, BIOS battery. Untangle it, leave it there. Do not disconnect it, just remove the battery here. Stick it to the side. Now we are going to lift up this motherboard from both sides. Oh, I forgot one more important thing before we lift it up. I'm going to put one screw right in here, right by the USB-C. We need to flip it. I almost forgot this part. I'm telling you, man, just to do this, to remove two fan cables. We need to disconnect this cable for the LCD sensor webcam. So pull this one upward. This is for the microphone, I'm guessing, or for the light, whatever they have on the screen. And then LCD connector, which is right in here. You want to remove this tape. And then once it's removed, you want to lift up this jack upward, right there. And now you want to slide it towards the back. There we go. Once you do that, you're almost done. Now we can go back down. You can put one screw there, one screw in the front, so you don't have to, the motherboard is not moving a lot. So I just put one there. To the back side first before you come here. Now we can go ahead and lift up this. Gently lift it up. This cables has to go through here. The Wi-Fi cable has to go between the fan cable. And there we go. So we had to do all this flipping thing to disconnect this fan connectors right in here. Just pull them back and that's it. So all this hassle for these two tiny fan connectors. Thank you, Dale. Thank you. So now I can put it back the other way around. Put it right on the board. Don't worry about it. You're not going to shorten anything. And bring up the heatsink. So there we have the heatsink. And there we have the motherboard. Unnecessary. So to disconnect these fan connectors, they couldn't just move these ones up here. Easily they could have. They do have shown up in different models. Alright, so first let's put this motherboard to one side. We are gonna work on the fan. So let's put this one here. Put up. The thermal pads in here, these are a 0.5 millimeter, 0.5. These are 1 millimeter, 0.5, 0.5, and 0.5 millimeters. And this is a 1 millimeter thermal pad. So 1 and 0.5 millimeter. You can purchase a 0.5 and just stack them over. It will work just fine. Now, to clean up the fan thoroughly, to clean up the heat sink right through here, you might want to disconnect the fan. To disconnect them, you want to grab a screw bit and 00. You want to remove the screws right on top of the fan. There's two of them, and remove the gaffer tapes. Okay, once you remove the gaffer's tape, do the same thing on this side. Remove two screws for this one. You can purchase a gaffer tape if you want to put the gaffer tapes back on. And you see this gaffer tape goes all around through here. I'm going to remove this tape. Right there. Now you can see all this dust build up in there. You're going to get to those. In here, there's a tiny clips in here. You want to loosen up this clip and the clip on the side. And the fan will come out, so you can use a toothbrush and remove all this dust pile out. So if you try to blow air, it will get it stuck into the fan and the situation will be even worse. So remove it, use a toothbrush to clean it, and then put it back together. Make sure these latches are a little bit close so it can snap into place. There you go. Same thing in here. You want to remove these latches, open up a little bit, not too much. Oh, I forgot. You have to remove the gaffer's tape first. If your gaffer's tape is sticky, you can put it back together. But if you don't put a gaffer's tape, that's fine too. I'm gonna try to lift it up from here. There we go. Fine. You see, all this dust piled up in there, this gunk you want to remove. And use a toothbrush to clean it up. Once it's cleaned up, put it back together. I'm gonna reopen it to clean up, do some stuff to it still. So I'm just gonna put it right on top and put the tiny screws. Do not tighten up with a force, otherwise you're gonna damage the screw, the plastic. Same thing on the right side. Now, this thermal pad goes right there. Now we're gonna clean it up. We're gonna use an alcohol and a little bit of the workshop towel. And we're gonna rub straight. Put your fingers on the side. On the other side, you don't want to bend the tubing. Just keep rubbing it until the old thermal paste will come out. And it stays really nice and shiny. You see this one is not coming out. It's really dried up. If you're not going to use a spatula to peel it off, the excess. Then I'm gonna lift up those. And the rest should come out pretty easy. There we go. Alright, so this is how you clean up the heatsink. Now we're gonna go over the motherboard. Alright, now that we clean up the heatsink, let's put this one to one side. We are gonna grab the motherboard and we are gonna clean up the motherboard. So we're gonna put a little bit of alcohol on the CPU and one little bit on the GPU. Now we're gonna grab a workshop towel. We are gonna just gently, as long as you clean the die on the CPU and GPU, you're fine. You don't need to clean them all around it. The CPU doesn't have any more components around it, but the GPU does have a little tiny capacitor. So that's why I always say use a workshop towel to clean up. You see, I'm cleaning. I just cleans up the crystal die first, so you can leave it like that. But if you want to be extra cleaning, you want to do just rub on top. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put an alcohol a little bit on top. I'm gonna gently, with this spatula, gently, with no force, just drag it over, and the alcohol will do the job. Just clean a little more if you want beside the crystal die, but it will not cause any damage. If you don't clean it, that will be fine. It will not affect the performance or decrease the performance. So just for those people that want it, you can use a toothbrush to clean it if you want to. I'm just doing it for those people that really want to clean up. So let's say you can put a little more alcohol. Just use a toothbrush, go in a circular motion, just like that. Now you can see it does clean up nicely. You see this one rips apart easily and will not damage the capacitors on the CPU or GPU. There we go. Right, we're gonna grab our thermal paste and we are gonna apply a little bit on the CPU, on the GPU. You can put a tiny line or just spread it. It's the same. And put a little bit on the CPU. A little bit goes way We do need to put the fan system first, so if you have to remove your thermal pads, you can replace them. I don't have any thermal pads right on hand. Replace your thermal pads. So I'm gonna bring it over. Remember, the fans have to go underneath, so I'm gonna bend the cables down. And grab my magnet through there. I'm gonna bring it over. Oh, I see this. I'm gonna put this one over. Find the screw holes. Make sure the screw holes are all aligned. And then once it's aligned, you just want to put one in the corner here. Over the screw bits is a Phillips number 1. Lift up and put one opposite side. Lift up the motherboard a little bit and put it right there. You want to cross screw them always. Just put on the other side, on the corner side. Once we have this one in there, now we can rotate and put this without horribly positioned fan connector on the other side of the motherboard. Just slide them in there and put them right there. If you want to put gaffer tape, go and put it. I'm going to order mine. Once mine gets, I'm going to reopen it and put the gaffer tape in on top. And now I'm going to pull this cable through the jack connector here. It has to come through here. And this power connector, there's my tweezers when I need them. Go through here, comes up. Make sure there's a tiny metal pinhole here. It has to sit flush with there. In here too. And the motherboard is in there. You can go ahead and plug in this power connector cable right in there. Pinch them in there. Put the speaker connector. Put the 2 screws for the fan on the right and 2 screws for the fan on the left. Right over the fan that touches the fan. And then we want to put the 4 screws on the motherboard, one right by the USB-C. And wherever we mark them, and there's a white arrow mark, we want to put them right there. This one is another USB-C port. And one right is by the M.2 SSDs. And you want to run this cable right in here. Put them right there. Grab this bridge cable for the USB. You want to pull this jack backward and you want to slide it inside the connector evenly. Make sure it goes in evenly inside the connector. Then put the bracket over, and that's it. Now I'm going to start putting up these cables down, and I'm going to lock them down. Put them in and lock them in. Don't put the battery connector yet. See, you want to pull this jack upward. Put the cables in, hold it, and then push down the lock. Pull up the lock. Put the keyboard backlight. Make sure it goes in. And lock it down. This one is a trackpad, TP. You want to open up the lock and you want to slide it in. Be gentle and lock it down. This is a keyboard. Keyboard flexor. Pull it up. Put it down and lock it down. Alright, pretty much we are done down here. You want to grab the bottom power. Okay, let's put the RAM. I removed the RAM, so I'm going to put the RAMs back in. So put the RAM in. If you have removed the RAM, put the RAM back in. They're going 45-degree angle. Just lock them in there. Grab the top cover. Make sure this Wi-Fi connector is in place, is coming out. Cable, pinch the front end, pinch the side. Make sure if you hear any of those click, those are what you want to hear. Grab the Wi-Fi board. Before you put it in, on the side, align the jack, the antennas right over the jack gently, and then pinch them together, and it should click in. Once it's in there, you want to put it inside the jack in 45 degree angle. Grab the bracket to hold the cables in place. It only goes in one way. Once you have it like that, then you want to push it down and put the tiny screw over. There we go. Plug in the cables for the RGB there, and RGB connector on the right side. There we go. The cable for the hard drive, just push them down on the motherboard, align them. Then we have to still put the cables on the back side. So put all the black cables. Let's put the M.2 SSD that you removed, all the storage that we removed. Oh yeah. You want to put one screw for the hard drive on this corner here. Put this screw right there, and the RGB, you want to align them and you want to push them in the connector right there. That goes in there, and then put the screw right over. Same thing on this other side. And then let's go ahead and put the 3 screws at the back mid, and then we're going to work on the other side. You know what? Let's put one in the mid right in here so that it holds the case in place. So we still got to put all these black screws wherever we find a screw hole here that is labeled with M2. So let's go ahead on this side. Now we're going to grab this connector for the webcam, I'm guessing. You're going to push it down in the slot right there. And use a spatula to push the corners. Pull the connector for this microphone, whatever sensor that you have it on the screen. Alright. Now the LCD connector is same thing as a bridge connector that we removed on the USB extension on the board. It has to go in straight in, and put the lock over, and just put it right there. There we have it. Now let's go ahead and put the back grill in. Just grab the grill, slide it in, put the 2 screws on the grill. I mean the grill cover, I guess. There we go. We are almost done. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to fast forward this part pretty much. I'm going to put all these black screws wherever I see M.2 screws. So go all around and start from one corner. You don't want to put anything in there because there's no label. So you should put all the screws in the correct spot. Remember, one is right by the hard drive right in here. And one, remember the one by the Wi-Fi, people usually miss this one and they think they don't have anymore. And to finish up down here, you grab the battery connector and push it straight in there. And to put the bottom cover, bring it down in 45 degree, put the front end first, slip it in. On the side, you want to push the side, make sure you hear those nice click sounds. That's what, so that the clips are getting in. Don't push the mid back, push right on the fan side in the corner. Tighten up the mid back and it will pull the cover to itself. And to finish it off, you just put the rest of the screws on the bottom cover. And this is how you can service and clean up your Alienware 17 R5 laptop. I hope you guys like this video and helped you guys out. If you have any question or requests, feel free to leave them in a video comment. I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Just gonna finish up putting up the bottom screws.